Hello, everybody. This is Coach Cortez with the Recruit University Success Series. I'm very pleased to bring on a special guest. You might have seen his TikToks that went viral, or you might know him from the NFL. He was drafted by the Kansas City Chiefs. Introducing Mr. DaJuan Morgan. DaJuan, welcome to the call.
Oh, man, thanks for having me, buddy.
I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Real quick, just tell the people a little bit about you. You played for the Chiefs, or drafted in the third round. Tell us a little bit about your NFL career.
Yes, drafted by the Chiefs in the third round. But prior to getting to there, we always everybody has a story, right? And I think I have a unique one with my process on getting to the NFL, having a severe car accident and a tornado ravaging my home just 15 days apart, and not being able to sign on National Signing Day to the school that I actually committed to, which was Ohio State University. And I ended up going to NC State after that. And then, playing a couple of years at NC State, I forego my senior year at NC State to enter into the 2008 draft, where I was selected by the Kansas City Chiefs. And just going into that as a rookie, not really having a plan. All I was thinking is just, man, I finally made it. I'm reaching my childhood dream. I'm here, and didn't kind of know what to expect. And I learned a whole lot in that first year. So my path was kind of, unique.
So the goal was always to get to NFL. That's every kid's dream. What was that experience like for you when that phone rang and it was the Chiefs on the line?
It was surreal. I got the phone call, and I'm on the line, and just talking to the GM at first, and then I talked to the head coach, and I talked to my DB coach, and they were telling me, we're getting ready to pull the trigger, and are you ready to be a Kansas City Chief? And I just, of course, I said yes. And then my mom, when the thing said that the Kansas City Chiefs is now on the clock, we're still talking, and then they said that the pick is in, and nobody really knew, because I went into the kitchen, and I just started talking. And my mom, she came running out the room when my name went across the screen, and she just was crying, and she fell into my arms and down to my knees. I'm on the phone. I'm trying to keep my composure, talking to the Chiefs organization, and tears rolling down my eyes because, all I could do was just think back, being in that car accident, not knowing if I was going to be able to walk again. Doctors telling me I may not even play ball again. Learning how to walk all over again. Those things just flooded my mind. And I'm like, man, all the hard work that I put into it, it's finally here, and it's paying off. And I'm actually going to walk into that dream that I had.
Yeah. So you spoke about the car accident a couple of times. Going back to that, because, this is every kid's dream. The parents who are watching this, the kids who are watching this is their dream to get to where you've gotten to. But you had to overcome some major adversity to get there. And it probably looked like that dream was not going to happen for you. That car accident was a freak car accident. Like, what happened that night?
That day was crazy. I was coming from school with my teammate, my younger brother who played with me as well, and it was a Friday, right? And we had all these plans on going to this party that night, and we were so ready to get home and get ready for this party. And we were driving on a 2-lane street, and the car that hit us, they were swerving in and out of their lane prior to getting to us. And somebody was on the phone with dispatch while they was driving. And she said that, this guy's going to hit somebody if he keeps driving like this. And lo and behold, he hit us. That's how the EMT and everybody responded so quickly to the scene, because they were already en route. But in the car, the driver said, "Look at this guy riding on the wrong side of the road." And I was sitting in the back seat, and I looked up and looking out on the mirror and front mirror. And next thing you know, we tried to avoid them so that we wouldn't have the impact. And then they tried to switch back into their lane and hit on the passenger side, which I was in the back seat on the passenger side. And the car somersaulted over us. Our car folded up like a pretzel. When you look at the scene, people didn't know how we made it out of there. I know it was God, but it was just a horrific accident, and thank God that no lives were gone. But the devastation of the accident, my teammate that was in the front seat, he broke both of his legs. He was in ICU for months. I had dislocated right hip and the left arm. I was on a walker, had to learn how to walk again. I had to go to rehab. I didn't play my senior year in high school. And the only thing that I had left was track. And, I was such in a depressed moment where I said, I'm not going to do nothing my senior year. I just want to graduate. I just want to get out of here and go to college and start over. But then, looking at my mom and, the person she was, it just helped me to find that fight that I had inside of me and say, you know what? I'm not going to let this driver take away my senior year, and I'm going to run track. And it was hard because I was a guy that used to come in first place. And my first track meet back, after learning how to do everything all over again and rehab myself back, I came in last place. And I was like, oh my goodness, I got a long road ahead of me, but I didn't quit. I kept persevering. I kept fighting through the adversity. And I didn't come into first place until district. And how track is set up, you got district, the top 4 in district, making the regional, top 4 in regional, making the state. So I went through that whole season of not winning, of not coming in first place in my mind. But I was an inspiration to a lot of people because 3-4 months ago, I was in a car accident, didn't know what was going to happen, even if I was going to live or not. And now I'm running track and having to learn everything all over again and persevere and fight through it. And I did it, man. And it was just a moment that I had when we actually had the state finals, because I promised my mother that I would win the gold medal for her. After my freshman year, I had a hip pointer. I didn't make it. My sophomore year, I came in second place. And then my junior year, I tweaked my hamstring in regionals. And so I had one shot left, which was my senior year. And man, that race was crazy, but I pulled it out.
Awesome, man. That's a tough story. Wow, I can't imagine just going through that and living a regular life, not alone becoming an athlete, and then an athlete at the highest level, just going through that. What drove you to keep going and keep pushing when it looked like it was over?
I had a conviction when I was a little boy. When I was in elementary school, I remember like it was yesterday, the teacher went around the room. She asked everybody, what do you want to be when you grow up? And, the kids, I want to be a doctor. I want to be a lawyer. I want to be this, that. And they were all great professions. When she got to me, she said, DaJuan, what do you want to be? And I said, I want to be a professional football player. And my peers, they laughed. My teacher chuckled. She said, yeah, but is there anything else you want to be? And I said, no, I'm going to be a football player in NFL. And so I patterned my whole life going through life, wanting to make it to the NFL. And I did things that was centered around that, even when it came to picking my friends, even when it came to being focused and having a tunnel vision to say, if this is not going to help me pursue and walk into my dream, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to partake in it. And I just lived through that. And then when I got in that car accident, man, just having it flash before my eyes, thinking that, hey, this is it. It may be over, but I didn't believe it. I kept seeing the end. I'm going to make it. As long as I got breath in my body, as long as I'm able to walk and play, I'm going to do it. So, that was my push. That was my motivation, and to see it all the way through.
Awesome. A lot of people that I talk to in my circle always talk about that drive. They always have that conviction and that vision. A lot of the successful people in my life, they say that they have a vision and they stick to it. So I surround myself with those types of people. So, that's amazing to hear you say that. Like I said, a lot of people in my circle say the same things. You played wide receiver. You were a DB in college. You're also a quarterback in high school, Mr. Everything. So I know you, at the time, you were up here. You were like on top of the world. Everybody saw you as on top of the world. You probably felt like you were on top of the world. But then you had everything taken away from you. Like, what was that feeling like, from being up there to coming all the way back down?
Oh man, it was very low. You really find out who your friends are. Friends are made in adversity. And I felt like not too many people were there for me. You got people screaming your name always, and everywhere you go, they're giving you all the praise and everything. But when you find yourself in those dark moments when it's just you and your real friends and family there, then you kind of know, who is really for you and not just for what you can do. But for me, that moment, man, it was a time to define myself and find out who I really was. And it was a humbling experience because I knew of God, but I didn't reverence God, and I didn't have a relationship with him. And I made football my God. And when he put it on pause, it caused me to realign, refocus my faith and believe in him, and knowing that it was him that got me there. It was him that gave me these gifts and these talents and ability to be able to play this game. And so I learned in that moment, to give him all the glory. And, just finding out who's who was a big moment, was a big deal for me. And then after that was over, once I got back into that place of what I used to know, being able to play ball again, my mindset was different when it came to people and allowing people to get into my circle.
Yeah. I had a student athlete that I was working with. As you know, I help high school student athletes get recruited to play sports in college. And I had an athlete, he was like you. He had tons of scholarships, right? Because you had, what do you say, about 40 scholarships?
Man, I couldn't count, man. I just remember getting my first letter as a sophomore. And after that, they just started coming in. I had shoe bags and boxes full of things. It just kept coming.
And then after that injury, most of it was going away. Is that right?
To be sadly mistaken, I still had quite a few schools that were on me that wanted me to come. University of Florida was one of the schools, and Ohio State, Georgia, a couple of schools that, still wanted me. NC State were recruiting me the highest out of all of them. I just love Doc Holliday, who was my recruiting coordinator, wide receiver coach. And, just that process, it still was a lot of schools on me. But once I went on my first visit and went to Ohio State, and I was just like, man, this is a school I wanted to go to. And if I can leave this nugget with a lot of kids now, I didn't get the proper counseling when I was in high school coming out. I didn't take all my visits. I committed on my first visit. If I could do it all over again, I would not have done it. I would have explored all of my options. I would not have given my word that I was going to go to somebody's school. And I would have picked the best school that was fitting for me and where I was going. And a lot of factors come into play. Do they have what I want to study? NC State didn't even have the program that I actually wanted to study. Had I known that, I probably wouldn't have went there. So the academic part plays a part. What do they produce in my position? Do they have, as a defensive back, I'm going to look at what came before me. Are they producing guys to go to the NFL? These are things that I did not consider. I just wanted to go to school, so this is a program that's going to get the highlights. This is a program, that's on TV. Am I going to get that national exposure? Our scouts are going to come. Believe me, they're going to find you wherever you are. But if you have the chance and the ability to go into a school where it's there for you, you're going to step into that limelight and you can fit that caliber, I would go for it. But it's a lot of factors to consider.
Right. Hey, I'm in the same boat. That's why I started with this company, Recruit University, because I did the same thing. As soon as I got a scholarship, I was so excited. I just wanted the first place that offered me, and it was exciting. But I did the same thing. I did not like where I was, and if I had to do it all over again, I would have done the same thing you did. And I wanted the kids to know that you have options, right? Because it's exciting. There's a lot of vanity in it. They see the jerseys, they see the school, they probably see their name or hear their name on the speaker, and it's cool. Like, they do a great job of marketing with the recruiting. But what I want the kids to understand is that the value that you're bringing to the school is important also. Like, they're bringing you in for a reason. They're not just bringing you in because you're a great player. They think that you can do something for them as well. So you're a high school coach now, correct?
Yes.
So
At Western High School.
Talk a little bit about, like, since you made it through D1, you went D1, you went pro, you know how the program works, you know how the system works. Talk a little bit about what your experience is like with talking to coaches, talking to parents, and the whole recruiting process.
Oh man, I can tell you this: the number one thing is a kid coachable. That's number one. Mm-hmm. A scout's going to look at the film. They're going to look at the stats. They know you can play ball. They've already seen that. What you do on film brings them that much closer to bring you in. Once they come and make sure your grades are good, then they want to know your character. Is this a guy that's going to come into my program? It's going to fit the bill. It's not going to be a cancer to my team. Is this guy coachable? That's what coaches really want to know. I can, because at the high school level, a kid only knows but so much. He's not yet exposed to that greater level of thinking, of knowing X's and O's, dynamics of the field. So when you get to college, there's a lot more to just high school, even breaking down film, how to watch film, how to break down a playbook. Can you teach a kid, or can a kid learn? Because in high school, your playbook probably this big. Everybody got a couple coverages, a couple blitzes, and that's it. But when you get to the next level, it's so detailed to the point where it can be discouraging because the playbook is going to be fat, right? It's going to be big. And I always tell my kids, you can't chop down a big tree with one hack. You got to keep chopping. You got to keep chopping, and eventually that tree will fall down. Same way of breaking down a playbook. You study a little here, study a little there, learn this, learn that, and it begins to compound and grow. So that coachable piece, is the main thing that I would drive home to a lot of kids and parents. Are you coachable? Are you willing to be a sponge? Don't come in with your own ideologies. Don't think that this is your way of doing it, and you've been doing it this way for so long. You got to be willing to adapt. You got to be willing to take new ideas, new coaching, new philosophies, and apply it to your game.
But what if that's what got them there? Doing it their way got them to that far?
Well, if doing it that way got them there, as long as it fits in the grand scheme of where you are now, then hey, do what you do. I know coaches, they have their preferences of what they want. If what you're doing works as a coach, you learn how to adapt as long as it fits within what you're trying to do. So I'll take you for example. I try to teach my kids to click step versus the T steps because there's different advantages that you do when you have that click step as a defensive back. But when the field is wet, you have to T step. So if a kid comes in and all he does is T step, I'm going to try to teach him the click step. But if he can't get it, I'm not going to say, oh, this kid can't play for me. I can adapt to him and try to teach him why this is important, why you can come out of your break faster, why you can have better angles by doing it this way. And hopefully that kid can adapt to it. But if he's a playmaker and he can make plays, I wouldn't let that little minute detail be a difference from him not playing.
Gotcha. And then parents, what's the relationship with parents? Can parents mess their kids up or kind of let their kids down a little bit as far as recruiting goes? Because parents can get way too involved.
I think I heard you. Can you repeat it one more time?
So as far as parents go, you deal with a lot of parents. They can get way too involved. Can they kind of mess their kids up when it comes to recruiting a little bit? Can they get in the way?
Oh, most definitely. They can get in the way. And I would just say this, let the coaches do their job and, let the players play the game. Because as a parent, you want to be involved. That's your baby. That's your, you want to see them make it. And you want to make sure that nothing is holding them back. I give you, for instance, I had a parent in the stands during the games. She came down and was like, why my baby's not playing or why he's doing this? She don't understand what her child was doing all week in practice, that the kid don't go home and tell, and what the kid was doing before the game even started. All they see is why my baby's not playing, and they want to get into it. So, you got to get all the facts. I think the best thing as a parent, you have to let your child go through that process. You give them that guidance at home away. Do not come between the coaches and the next level coach trying to sell your child, because at the end of the day, I'm a coach and I'm not going to the parent to ask them about their kid, because you're going to give me everything good about your kid. That's not where coaches want to go. So you'll do yourself a favor by just not trying to sell your kid and let them tell you what they think of your child. And, you can kind of talk in that aspect, but don't go trying to sell and shop your kid, because now you're doing too much. And that's just a turnoff to coaches, because we don't, to be frank, we don't want that advice, that information. We can go get it from other sources to make sure it fits.
It's credible, for sure. One other thing too that I wanted to ask you about, just from the high school coach's perspective, when you became a coach, did you get a magic notebook with all college coaches' information on it? Was that given to you?
No.
Did you have a huge network and say, okay, you're a high school coach now, you have access to every college coach in the country? Did that happen for you?
No.
Well, how did you build these relationships with coaches to get your kids out there?
Over time, coaches come in, whether they, know you or another coach or, the guys. And when you come in contact with a coach, you build that rapport, you build that relationship, and you communicate that way and you just build. But no, it wasn't given to me. I can tell you this, though. I've asked for a Rolodex, and I've gotten it, but I'd open my mouth. It wasn't just handed to me. So yeah, that's how we do it.
Exactly, because the fake I have an issue with, and it's not a lot of coaches. There's a handful, like old school coaches. They have this theory that if you're good enough, the coaches will come find you. But I found that to be true in some cases, but in most cases, you kind of have to open your mouth, like you said, and reach out. I'm gonna ask you another question. You probably know this one too. Like a lot of your players, they want to go D1. What do you tell them, like when it comes to D2 or D3 schools, or maybe even junior college?
I'll tell them that I don't necessarily take their mind off of it, because you want to give a kid a goal, something to reach for.
Yeah.
But I'm going to make sure that if you tell me you want to go D1, I'm going to make sure you're doing D1 work.
What's that
Worthiness,
like?
are you putting in a D1 effort? Because I've been there and I know what it looked like and I know what it takes to get there. So when a kid is not giving me that, I remind them, you told me you want to go to LSU. You told me you want to go to Georgia. And I put that in their minds. Like when they're in practice, if they're giving me not that D1 standard, I go to tell you, I said, listen, if a scout was in that stands right now, what you think he would do? They'd be like, coach, you're right. I said, you got to practice every day, like all the D1's coaches are sitting right there looking at you. Every step you make, you got to think in your mind that they're right there looking at you, and that make a kid turn it on. Because if a kid don't have that vision, then they can't quite see. They know what they want, but they don't know the necessary steps it takes to get there. So you got to put in the work. And I also let them know this: if you don't make it D1, that's okay. There's guys that get drafted from D2, D3. All you need is one team to like you. One team to give you a chance, and the rest is history. The rest is on you.
Great. I love that you actually talk to your players ahead of time and find out what their goals are. Believe it or not, there's coaches out there who just don't really care. Some coaches are just there to get their check. Some coaches, they just do whatever they were taught before, and they don't really adapt or learn to, today's world. How long have you been a high school coach? Were you on other coaching staffs? What made you passionate about what you're doing right now for these kids?
I knew I had something to give back to the next generation. I didn't know when I was going to go into coaching. I had to give myself some time to kind of, accept the fact that I wasn't playing. But once I was ready, I came back. This is my 4th year coaching. I knew that I had something to offer these kids, and I wanted to make an impact in their lives and give them my experience to help them kind of navigate through the ebb and flows of a high school football player, and be able to take that game to the next level. So that's my passion that's my why I get up and do what I do. And just seeing these kids make it to that next level is that much fulfilling to me.
And as a high school coach, I just want to confirm this stuff because people think I'll be making it up. As a high school coach, right? You're also a teacher, correct?
Yes.
How many classes do you teach?
I teach algebra and algebra 2 honors right now.
Okay, and you're on your planning period right now talking to me.
Yes, that's why that bell's ringing in the background.
It's all good. But it comes with planning, so you have to plan for these classes, right?
Yes.
How much time does that take to do?
It takes time, man. It takes hours. You gotta. I use my planning, and sometimes when I'm home, I'm thinking, just trying to find not only the content. They give us the resources, but you got to be creative now with these kids. Their attention spans are very short, So I try to make it fun for them, and I have a different type of learners. Some kinesthetic, some listener, some visual, and I try to take all of those and make sure I create something that everyone can learn. So I go the extra mile to try to figure out how my kids can grasp the information and retain it and be successful.
Great. I mean, like I said, you're creating your own stuff. Are you grading papers? You have papers to grade?
Oh yeah, I'm grading them. I try to stay on top of it because I don't like to take it home and grade. So the planning period is when I can get it in and do it the most. But yes, that's a whole different monster there, just grading it. And
about how many kids in each class do you have?
I teach about an average of 32 kids a class.
Wow, that's a lot. Okay, so I'm going somewhere with this. So just hold on, stay with me. All right, so you do that. Okay. Then you're coaching football, right? So do you create a plan for practice?
Yes, I have to go in that day of knowing what I'm going to get ready to teach these guys. So And what I like to do, I ask my kids a question too. I have what I want to teach them, especially in our individual, but I ask them right before we get into it. I say, what you guys want to work on today? What you think we need to work on? And I kind of hear them, and some of them be on point with what I got planned. And then I'm like, or I even add to what they say, because, you know, I want them to know that they're involved, and I do, you know, take what I see and hear from them, and I count it. So, you know, we kind of collaborate together, but I always let them know, hey, this is what I know we need to work on, but I'll throw that in there too, you know, to help you out.
About how many players on your team?
Oh, we probably have about maybe like 60 plus guys on the team.
Wow. Wow. And then you got assistant coaches, so you have to give them roles and tell them what they're supposed to be doing too. You have to give them the plan, right?
Right. We have a schedule that we give out to all of our coaches every day, so we kind of see the periods, kind of keep us on point.
Okay. And then you guys watch film?
Oh yes, we watch film
as a staff or then as a team.
Yes.
You take film home and watch it at home.
Yes.
What about weightlifting? Who does that?
We do it to all the coaches. We kind of collaborate on weightlifting, but we get it in as well.
Wow. And then
so it's a lot, man. It's a lot to do. And then, you know, having a family, I have a wife, and I have, you know, 6 kids at home.
Yeah, 6 kids. So, oh my goodness.
Yeah, seven total.
Jeez. You got 7 kids. You got a wife at home. And you have to spend time for them for their extracurricular activities, right?
Right. So, you know, a lot of nights where they're asleep, and then I pull out everything and go over it. So I have to give them their time. And because, you know, I'm always in and out quick, you know, get out work, come home, check in for about 30, 40 minutes. And then I got to go to practice. Then after practice, I have to, you know, help them with their homework and get them situated with dinner and everything. And then some nights I got to go to church and, you know, and do it all over again. So it's a lot demanding on my family as well.
All right. And you're one person, right? You're the coach. This is where I'm going with this. This is what I hear a lot. The coach isn't helping my boy. The coach isn't doing what he needs to do to help my kid go to college. The coach didn't do this. The coach didn't do that. What do you say to the parent who says, oh, you didn't do enough to help my son get to college?
Well, we let them know that we do all we can, and we have a designated time to where we can kind of shop the kids. But we put in a lot of work with these kids. You know, it's not just us. You know, you guys are the second hand to that, making sure your kid is doing the necessary things at home. You know, I tell my kids all the time, if you want to be great, you got to do the extra. You got to go the extra mile. You can't do what's required. If we tell you got to do 4 sets of 10, you need to do 4 sets of 11. You know, you got to go that extra mile. So when you're home, you're always working on your craft. You're not just home, you know, playing around or doing the normal things, but you gotta be putting in the work. So I ask the parent, when your kid is home, what do they do? What do you see them doing? And if they can't tell me they doing stuff football related, then there you have it. Your child don't want it as bad as they say they do.
Exactly. I think people depend too much on the coach, and they're not opening their mouth and seeing what else is out there. You know, that's why I have this company, you know, Recruit University. Like I said, we're teaching parents how to go get the information they need, how to contact the people they need to contact, all those different things. Because there's not in school anyway a handbook that says, here, do all of these things, and then you're going to get recruited. Like, I mean, we have counselors, we have coaches, but the parents and the students have to be involved in the process. And I like to say they have to be a part of their own rescue, right? So if you're swimming, right, and you're drowning and the lifeguard's coming to save you, they're going to throw you a raft, but you got to actually reach out to that raft and grab it. So that's where I was going with that. I just wanted you to confirm it as another high school coach, so that way the other parents can say it's not just me making up stuff. This is real. Like, you got a life outside of football. You got math, you got school, you got kids, you got a wife, you got church, you got all this stuff going on. It's not possible for one man to help all 60 kids get to the next level without, you know, somebody else helping. So that's where I wanted to go with that. Just to wrap things up a little bit, I want you to tell me a little bit more about who you are, what you're doing right now. You're a speaker now, and you have your own program. Tell me a little bit about what you got going on.
Man, I'm a minister. Obviously, I'm married with 7 kids. I'm also an educator, motivational speaker. SpeakMoLife is my speaking. You know, I try to get kids, and not only just kids, but people to fortify their minds and think different, to change their environment and give them something to reach after. I'm also an entrepreneur with a company called Grippers. We've created a multi-sport product that gives athletes, and not only just athletes, but anyone who would use the product, a tangible feel of an object that they're grasping, and just give them the best optimal feel and strengthen their fingers and their ligaments in their hands to be able to play the sport that they're playing, or just do the things that they normally do. And so, I'm kind of involved in a lot of different things. I'm also a personal trainer as well, in the process of owning my own gym. So, I have a lot that's going on other than just coaching, and, just trying to balance everything and make it all happen.
Awesome. How can people find you, find the Grippers? How can people get in touch with you?
Grippers.com, GRYPPERS.com. So that's a Y instead of an I.
Okay.
My SpeakMoLife page, you can find me on nowadays TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. Just my name is DaJuan Morgan, and then the number 38 will be behind it. You can find me on those social media outlets as well.
Awesome, DaJuan, man. I appreciate your time. I don't want to take up all your lesson planning. End of the school year and everything. You probably want to go get some lunch. So I appreciate you coming on, man. Hopefully we can talk again sometime.
All right, man. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.